Before we continue, I want to summarize some of the determinants of market size that we have seen so far. It's interesting that some of them have opposite effects and kind of counteract each other. For instance, let's talk about internal economies of scale versus transportation costs. Last chapter, when we were studying transportation costs, we saw that many firms, they aim to reduce transportation costs by locating close to the markets. Let's say that there is a market in Murray and there is a market in Mansfield. That should lead the firms, at least the firms that are trying to reduce transportation costs, to open 2 branches, one in Murray, one in Mansfield. Why? Because if they have 2 branches, one in each market, they do not have to spend money transporting the product from one market to the other. So they will minimize transportation costs. We saw that last chapter. On the other hand, we also saw last chapter issues regarding internal economies of scale. When you have internal economies of scale, the bigger the firm is, the more efficient it gets. So instead of 2 branches, one in Mansfield, one in Murray, the firm will have an incentive to locate only in one place and be a bigger firm. So instead of 2 smaller firms, one in each market, to take advantage of internal economies of scale, you want to have one bigger firm in one of the markets. Basically, internal economies of scale means the larger you are, the more efficient you get. So, what is the answer? Should we have many small firms to minimize transportation costs, or one big firm to take advantage of internal economies of scale? Well, there's no answer for that. It's going to depend on the type of firm you're talking about. Another interesting issue is the relationship between external economies of scale versus competition among firms. When you were studying monopolistic competition, we saw that there is a limit to the number of firms in a market because the profits will go down if the number of firms increases too much. So as firms compete with each other, that means that you don't want that many firms in the market. So if you're opening up a restaurant, for instance, you may not want to open up in a location where there are a lot of many other restaurants because you may think, oh, but there's competition among them, so I don't want to compete with all those restaurants. But on the other hand, when you were studying external economies of scale, we saw that sometimes firms have incentive to be together. Our example was, for instance, movie producers in Hollywood or the Silicon Valley. Those were the types of industries that they are together on purpose. Why? Because external economies of scale make them more productive when they are together. So, competition tends to spread out firms. External economies of scale tends to bring firms together. Which one is more important? Again, that's going to depend on the firm. Now, other determinants that you can think of. The definition of demand density is the following: the quantity demanded per person times the population density. So the idea is to calculate the total demand per area. Certain businesses, they have a lot of demand density. For instance, convenience stores. So when you have a huge demand density, smaller firms can survive, and that's why you can have many convenience stores in one geographical market. The same is true about income and population. If you increase income and population, you also increase the demand density. And as you increase the demand density, that means that smaller firms can survive in the market, so that tends to shrink the market area. So I wanted to be recording this video so we can connect all the different location factors that we studied so far.